Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery with IIMFL and Smart Money Alliance. It's my pleasure to visit with you this morning. There's nowhere else I'd rather be than visiting with our distribution partners. We get together most weekday mornings at 8 o'clock Central, or a minute or so before, and that includes our affiliates, our credit literacy educators, and our joint venture partners. I am super excited to discuss this with you today. Prior to the pandemic, we had regular in-person trainings here in our offices. We had people fly in from around the country. We had a branch manager fly in from Hawaii. And people sometimes drove an extraordinary distance if they didn't want to fly. We're actually right next to an Amtrak station as well. But regardless of the logistics, we are resuming next month our in-person trainings. Thank goodness, resuming in-person trainings. So we're going to start with the training that's outlined here on the page, and we'll go through. So what did we talk about yesterday? We talked about that one of the most effective ways to generate a sales funnel is to teach, is to educate. And I realize as a society, we've moved to a lot of Zoom and virtual learning, but I'll tell you that I believe that you'll have a more pleasurable experience and a higher conversion rate if you teach in person. Yesterday, we talked about going to apartment complexes, churches, community centers, libraries, and so forth. We've done all those and it's been very successful. We want you to do the same. Go out in your community, connect with people, educate, and help them. So the Credit 101 workshop is what we've been talking about. Now, the Credit 101 curriculum is frankly quite broad, and it has the ability to be a short or even a full day workshop. We have all the participant guides and the instructor guides and the PowerPoints and the train the trainer materials. But the feedback that we've received from several of you is, hey, can't we get together and work on this face to face? And the answer finally is yes. So starting in April, which I'll talk about the specifics in a moment, we're going to invite all of you to come spend a day with us. Spend the day together, meet face to face, have lunch, which we'll buy for you, and get you proficient in teaching this material. And I guess I'd broaden that both to say teach it as well as to be able to generate conversions. Because if we convert clients into the programming, what happens? They get help and you get paid. So it's really about educating and converting. So on the left here, you see a sample Credit 101 workshop flyer. Obviously, it can be edited based upon the date, but also more importantly, the time here, because if you're doing a 1 hour workshop, it's going to cover a different amount of content, obviously, than a couple hours or half day or full day. But regardless, we really, really, really would like to get each of you engaged with educating in your community. Again, at libraries and at apartment complexes and community centers and churches and anywhere where people gather. It's great. So let's talk about what we're going to be doing to get you prepared for that. And then I'd like to get feedback from each of you. Now, Robert's on the Zoom, and he's been asking about this face-to-face training for a while, so I suspect he'll be probably one of the first to register. But I do want to explain it to you and then get feedback from each of you. And frankly, would you like to join us for a day? Would you like to spend the day together to learn, sharpen your axe, and become more skilled in being able to help others? All right, so what's this about? So this would be an invitation to credit literacy educators and JV partners to attend a one-day in-person training. We have it tentatively scheduled for April 30th, so the last Friday in April. So it gives everyone about 30 days notice from this live Zoom, from maybe the recording you're listening to. Normally we'll run from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and we'll provide lunch. When we've done these trainings in the past, we had kind of option A and option B. Option A was to do the training right here in our physical office, which is great. We have limited space, but that has worked well. And then option B is we go to a country club and have it at the country club. And so then we can accommodate 60, 70, 80 people. So we'll have to see what the market response is to decide. But regardless, this is the tentative date that we're planning on and the start and end time. Now, I give you the start and end time, and these are central times, of course, because most folks will want to come in the night before. You know, the last thing, and we have had people do this before, you know, they'll come in early that morning and they're like falling asleep during training. They're just exhausted. And I don't think that makes it fair to you or fair to us to have someone that's kind of comatose occupying one of the limited seats that's available. So we would ask, please consider coming in the night before. There's lots of lodging opportunities. Spend the night, and then we'll attend Friday. And then at that point, you know, we're near Dallas, Fort Worth, as mentioned in the next bullet. Some folks will end early enough. That's why we end at 3. That will allow you to fly out if you want on Friday, or some people extend their trip. Obviously, this is a tax deductible trip, right? It's for business expenses. And so from that, you could spend the weekend and probably write the whole trip off. So again, the where, we'll most likely have it at our office. We're in Mineola, just outside of Dallas, Fort Worth, but we'll monitor attendance. And if we have too many people register for our training room, we'll move off site, but it'll still be in the same general area. It wouldn't really affect your flight or your travel plans. It's just where the actual training would be held that day, but we'll let you know in advance. Why would you want to attend? Well, certainly, we'd like to help you become more effective in teaching Credit 101 workshops. Do you have to attend this training to teach the 101 workshops? No, not at all. We've been talking about this. You're welcome to go out and set them up and teach them now. We wish you would, but we do believe that if we can get you more confident and competent in the material and presentation, you'll probably teach more, enjoy it more, and make more money. And then also, as we mentioned, although we typically teach Credit 101 workshops without charging the attendees, unless the host want there to be a fee, what you're going to see is a lot of conversions come out of that. And the 60-day credit sweep, especially if you're doing the white label, is so much profit for you all. Most of you are selling that, and again, you can set your own price with the white label, but most of you seem to be selling that at $1,999.99. We'll just round it off and call it $2,000. Most of you are collecting $1,000 up front, and then the other 1,000 60 days later when they exit the program. Well, my goodness, you're making about $1,200 profit per client. So who wouldn't want to come attend a one-day training, which is not a moneymaker for us. We're giving it away, and I'll explain that in a minute. But who wouldn't want to come attend a one-day training to be more proficient if you're generating on average over $1,000 per client? And you know, if you do a workshop and you don't generate 10 new clients, then we've done something wrong together. Also get to meet us, and then the training's free, and I want to explain that. And you've seen this too. If you don't have the attendees to have some skin in the game when they register, 1 million people will register and a lot of people won't show up. So there will be a registration fee. We're figuring that out exactly now, and part of that depends if it's going to be on-site or off-site. But what we'll do is we'll give everyone who registers and attends. Notice we need you to attend, not just register, take up a seat when someone else could have been there. Then what we'll do is we'll give away a free credit sweep package that you can then go turn around and sell, which of course is worth $2,000 to you, as we just said. And then how to register is by emailing me. But my goal today is to get feedback. And again, you're not going to hurt my feelings. So I would just like to know what questions that any of you have about this. And again, this is what we used to do. We used to do training in person, stopped it with the pandemic, but what questions do you have about why you should attend, what you would learn, but ultimately not asking a commitment, but are you interested in attending? Because it could be that we're delusional. I hear many of you say that you'd like to, but now we're moving from a concept to, okay, we need to schedule this. And so again, not asking for a firm commitment, but just looking for a response in the Q&A. Do you think that you might plan to attend. And then based upon the response, we can determine, I think we're most likely going to have it on that date regardless, but it'll help us determine where we're going to have it. Okay, so Robert Martin said yes with an exclamation, and I thought so because Robert's been asking about the in-person trainings for some time now, and we just wanted the market to resume more normalcy. If you're going to fly in, you're obviously still going to have to wear a mask and all those restrictions from the federal government and the FAA. But I can tell you here in Texas, there's not a mask mandate anymore. We won't be wearing masks unless you want to during the session. And we'll be doing role playing in that. It's going to be interactive. It's not sit there and get a 6-hour lecture or 5 hours plus lunch. It's going to be interactive. All right, so we've got Joseph says he's good. Robert's good to come. Anna Marie's good. We've got a bunch of folks interested. Barry, great. Okay, so that validates what our assumption was, that you all were available. Okay, so and Marissa saying cost. So again, there'll be some sort of registration fee because we've just learned if you don't have a registration fee, then what will happen is a lot of people will register that don't plan on attending or don't attend, and then it throws everything off. So there will be a registration fee. We'll figure that out here soon. And then, but the good news is you'll make money from attending because we're going to give, as long as you register and attend those two things, then you'll get a free credit sweep to sell. Well, a credit sweep normally selling, as we just said, for $2,000. So we'll essentially pay you $2,000 to attend. And so there'll be some sort of registration fee. Obviously, you'll need to get here, whether it be by plane, train, or automobile, and most likely you'll want to spend the night. We're in a real low cost of living area, so hotels are very, very affordable, or bed and breakfast. So there certainly will be some expense for you to attend. However, that expense will be more than negated. And in fact, you'll generate direct profit for attending, plus the fact, hopefully, that's the plan, that you'll walk away more competent and confident and generate a lot more conversions going forward. Okay, and so Barry asked for white label what email to send client information to. That is a great question. So Barry, for that, and a number of you are really getting active on the white label clients. So on the 60-day credit sweep, which you can see here at the bottom of the flyer, there's and I went through this in one of the other trainings, but I know that's a lot to assimilate. So when you go to 60daycreditsweep.com, there is an inquiry form at the bottom of the page, and that's where you'll put in their name, their email, their phone number, and on the referred by, you'd let us know, in your case, Barry, referred by Barry, money collected, being submitted by Zelle on 3/26. And so then that way we know, okay, we've got a client coming in, clients coming in from Barry, it's white label. Because remember, we send a different DocuSign agreement to our white label clients than we do our non-white label clients for a couple reasons. We need to keep those two separate, normal versus white label, because you have a different price point on white label. So they get a different agreement. So when you submit that name, phone number, email in, of course, you need to send in our portion of the payment, you keep the rest. But we need to know to send them the white label agreement, not the normal agreement. So the answer to your question, Barry, is just submit it on the inquiry form on 60-day credit sweep. And you all been very impressive in getting the word out and enrolling people in the white label, which is great. Again, you set the price for the white label. If you want to charge them $5,000, that's your choice. If you want to give it away, that's your choice. I mean, you're controlling the pricing on the white label. All right, Anna Marie asks, who should we email if we have questions? I would always email info, or you just keep it simple since my email's right here. Just email me, Anna Marie, if there's questions, thomas@iimfl.org. Normally we'd say email info@iimfl.org. Multiple people check the info email account, but that's fine. Just email it to me, Anna Marie, and I'm happy to help you. Okay, so let's get back to this. So what's some pessimism? What are some reasons that you all think this is a bad idea? That to have an in-person training where we meet each other in person, we refine our skills, we build our confidence, we build our competence. Why is this a bad idea? All right. And David says, well, why don't we just do this via Zoom? And David, I appreciate that. Frankly, I'm kind of zoomed out, number one. Number two, I used to be a college professor, and I taught both online and in-person classes. That's a full-time tenured professor. And I just personally prefer in-person education. You get to connect more with your audience. You get better feedback. You can see them. They can see you. And so we're going to offer this preparation training in person. But what I want you to remember, David, is you are not required to attend this. And it certainly isn't a moneymaker for us. We're giving you more value than your total expenditure to get here. But I'm just confident from my experience that there'll be greater retention of the information if we spend the day together, because a big part of it is role playing and having it interactive. And you'll meet other credit literacy educators and joint venture partners from around the country, and you'll develop your own network and support groups. So there's just too much power of this. We'll continue to have these daily Zoom trainings, right? We have these almost every weekday morning at 8 o'clock. That's over 200 a year. We're not proposing stopping this, but this is something that's available above and beyond if you would like to come in. Now, again, there will be some sort of registration fee. We'll figure that out. You will have to get here. So there's some expenditures there, but you've got a month lead time. And again, you should be generating over $1,000 from every credit sweep client that you're bringing in if you're doing white label. So even if you sold one extra credit sweep to support your participation in this in-person training, you'll leave with a free credit sweep to give away, which is worth $2,000. Economically, I don't think there's a reason not to attend. All right, Anna Marie says, thank you. Marissa says, love in person. I'm with you. And dress code. So it's just, if we have it here in our office, we say casual, we'll dress business casual. If we go to the country club for overflow, they do have a business casual requirement. So I would go into it just thinking business casual. There's no ties that are necessary. This is not about being fancy and uncomfortable, but collared shirts for men, for example, they don't like denim. So just business casual would be the dress code. Anna Marie says, it'd be great. Thank you. Yeah, and Anna says, right now, to a large extent, we're just voices to you, right? We talk a lot, or you hear from us a lot, but how much more valuable would it be to actually create a human connection by spending the day together? All right, so Dion says, if I wanted to do an education literacy class, which we're encouraging you to, and you do not have to attend this training, which is free, but you do not have to attend this training to start going and teach Credit 101. But Dion didn't ask that. He asked, if I were to do an education class, and I wanted to bring us out. Well, okay, so that's a great question. And so we get asked that, and we were doing that for a while, again, pre-pandemic, where our distribution partners would set up events, and then myself or one of the more established trainers would fly across the country and go do the workshops. And I enjoy that. It's not real great for family life, but really our goal is to get you comfortable in educating. And you could do it in person, online. You could do it one-on-one or small groups, or maybe that's just not your comfort zone. Since we're not charging for the Credit 101 workshops for the attendees, to, as it says here, no cost to attend, it's tough for us to allocate our staff the time and expense to come to you to teach this, when really the model, Dion, is to teach you, train the trainer, right? So that's what we're trying to accomplish here. So I don't want to be too hardline on it and say that we won't come out and teach this for you, but we'll quickly exhaust. Before the pandemic, I'd have 20 different cities to go to in 1 month to go out and teach workshops for our distribution partners. And again, I enjoyed it, earned a lot of miles on America Airlines and Hilton, but it wasn't great for family life. And really, this isn't that complicated because we are now providing you, and it wasn't always the case, we're providing you the participant guide to give to the participants. We're providing you the instructor guide to be able to prepare. We've got training videos, and of course, now we have this. So, Dion, in general, the goal is for you to teach it. Now, what I might say is if some of you might be comfortable in setting up workshops, but really don't want to teach it, I think that's where I would say come in to our training on the 30th of April, meet other team members, and kind of figure out who might want to work together. So you might have Dion that can go set up 4 workshops a month, but let's say, and I'm not saying this about Dion, but just hypothetically, maybe Dion doesn't want to be the guy in the front of the room teaching it. But at the same time, you got Barry, who loves to be in front of an audience and is a persuasive, interactive speaker. Well, what Dion could do is say, Barry, hey, how about we team up? Because Barry's successful and busy, but Barry doesn't have 5,000 of you to support. So that would be an indirect benefit of coming to the training, is get a chance to meet others, your peers, and then maybe look at some collaboration opportunities with them. So hopefully that was an okay answer. I don't want to overcommit. I love to travel. My family doesn't like when I travel that much, and there's other responsibilities that just don't get done when we're traveling. And again, the bottom line goal is, even without this training, if I could put a big red X through this, you all are supported and empowered to start going and teach now without ever coming to this in-person training, because we have the participant guides, the instructor guides, the PowerPoints, everything's there. But if it would make you feel more comfortable, then what we would like to do is spend a day with you in person and sharpen those skills. Okay, who else has any questions, comments, concerns on this? Greg, I don't know that we'll get to that email this week, but we can work on that next week, certainly. Who else has any questions on this training model? Because what's happened is once the pandemic hit and we weren't able to have people in, that's frankly when we started these daily trainings. And so, as you know, we record most of those. They're on our YouTube channel. And so what used to be a 6 or 8 hour in-person training, now, I don't think without exaggeration, there's hundreds of hours of training available. So we now have covered everything that we used to do in person and much more. However, this is a little bit of a different beast here. This is focused on Credit 101. It's so important, and I'm going to reiterate it. Credit 101 workshops are scalable. They could be 30 minutes in length. We've got enough content to go 8 hours in length. You might say, well, 8 hours is crazy. Well, then you could do it one evening. When I was with the SBA and SCORE, we would do it one evening a week for 4 consecutive weeks, like Tuesday evenings at 7, from 7 to 8 or 7 to 9, and then break it down into multiple. Those are other reasons why we can't really meet what Dion's asking, because is it possible for one of us to fly out and do a workshop with Dion? It's possible, but what if Dion set it up for 4 consecutive Tuesdays, right? So now we're traveling way too much. And so it's up to you. And that's what we're going to dig into, some best practices. But I just don't want you to leave today's training thinking, they're holding back. No, you can access all the Credit 101 curriculum without ever registering, without ever attending our in-person training. I don't want you to think that you can't. Okay, Kwong's asking good questions. So who's this training for? The training is for credit literacy educators, which you're one of, Kwong, and our JV partners. clients wouldn't attend this. Now, this type of workshop is for prospective clients. Here, we're training you on how to be effective in doing this. So I see, I probably have confused it. So when we are out teaching Credit 101, we're going to go teach it to prospective participants. In contrast, this training that we're talking about is to get you prepared, competent, and confident to teach this. I see what happened is that since I put both of these on the board at one time, you all converged them. So the training April 30th are for our distribution partners. The Credit 101 workshops are conducted by our distribution partners for clients. And that's my mistake. I'm sorry, Kwong, for confusing that. I should have clarified that. So this is not the flyer for this event, right? It doesn't match up. This is 1 hour. This is full day. This is being held April 10th. This is being held April 30th. Hopefully that makes sense. Scott's asking about the new front end. I have a Zoom webinar at 9:30 Central, about 1 hour from now, with the developer, Scott. Different Scott with 2 T's. And he says that it's ready to go. So he's going to be orienting our staff at 9:30 in an hour. And if we understand it well enough to implement it, then we can roll it out next week. And that'll be a new front end for submitting access to capital clients. And Marissa's a SCORE mentor. Yeah, I was a SCORE mentor. I was actually the workshop chair for the Dallas-Fort Worth SCORE. And now I forget, I think it was 14 or 17 counties. And so I was the guy responsible for setting up, and I taught a lot of them, but not all of them. Certainly did not teach all of them, but I was responsible for setting them up and managing workshops essentially across North Texas. And so that is awesome, Marissa. I think I was the youngest SCORE advisor or mentor, because so many of the SCORE folks are retired, which is great, but I was not retired. Okay, any other questions on what we've covered today? So Credit 101 workshop, we'd love you to be involved and go out and teach this in your community. We're not holding anything back. We'll get you plugged into all the curriculum and you can go run with it. If you think that you would benefit by joining us for a day, then what I need you to do is to, please, regardless of what you might have done in the Q&A box of Zoom, email me and let me know that you'd like to attend. We'll figure out how many people are tentatively planning to come. We'll figure out where we're going to have it, if it's going to be here in our physical office where I'm sitting now, or at the country club, which we've used before, and then we'll go from there. What I like about our office is it's great to have you here to our office. And then we have both technology and whiteboards in our training room. When we go to the country club, they can wheel in a monitor and they can wheel in whiteboards, but it's not quite the same. But what's great about the country club is they have an awesome lunch buffet, which again, we'll pay for you. And the food is just incredible. So we'll just have to see how many people want to attend and then decide. But in either case, it'll be here either at our office or near our office. Stefan asked a question about other trainings. Will we have these? I don't know. I mean, we're going to see what type of response we have. If the demand warrants it, then we'll have it more often, right? Or even on a regular basis. I don't know. This is our first attempt, Stefan, at going back to face-to-face training after a little over a year hiatus because of the pandemic. So I don't know. I would recommend that if you have interest in attending, let's get you registered for this one, because I don't know if we'll do more or not. Yeah, there's a lot of things to come and see and do in Dallas, Fort Worth, and surrounding areas. So again, for a fully tax deductible business expense trip, and the weather will be great too. I think you'd enjoy it. Scott asked, how far back will the new front end go in importing disciplined older clients? It won't go backwards, it'll only go forward. Stefan confirms great barbecue. Absolutely. Okay, so let me wrap it up and then we'll end today's training on time for a change. So we get together most weekday mornings, 8 o'clock Central, a minute or so before, with our distribution partners, different topics each day. Our topic today was announcing that we're resuming in-person training sessions. This training session that we're speaking on today is applicable for credit literacy educators and JV partners. If you're neither of these, you can become one. That's not a problem. It'll be a one-day in-person training. We're planning on having it Friday, April 30th. So that would allow you to come in the night before, attend the training, and then fly out Friday afternoon. We're leaving, ending early enough that you could fly out, or you could spend the weekend, tax-deductible trip. We're planning on it being in our office, but depending upon a number of attendees, we may go to the country club, which we've done it at before, which is great. And what we're going to learn is how to teach the Credit 101 workshops. Credit 101 workshops, as this sample flyer shows, is powerful in educating, connecting with your community, and creating a massive funnel. You should anticipate 90% plus of the attendees of a workshop to convert into the Credit Suite program. Think about that for a moment. If you're making an average of $1,000 through the white label for every Credit Suite, let's say you had a small workshop with 10 attendees, only 10 people registered, and you'd reasonably anticipate 9 of them would show up. You can make, let's just call it $9,000 on average for teaching each 1-hour workshop. Now, are you getting paid technically to teach the workshop? No, because we don't charge for the workshop. But the outcome of the workshop is now that you've connected with the audience, they know you, they trust you, and many of them will move forward. And they're not going to come to a credit workshop if they don't have a credit issue. So obviously, that's your target audience. We'll get you proficient in selling and closing, if you will, the 60-day credit sweep and credit boost, which of course almost always can pivot in to access to capital, because once someone has addressed credit barriers, who wouldn't want a guaranteed $100,000 to start or grow a business? Everybody would. The IMF, meet our team, and then again, the training will be free with an asterisk. There will be a registration fee, as I've said a couple of times. We can't offer it without a registration fee because we'll have too many no-shows. So there'll be a registration fee, but what will happen is once you register and attend, then we'll give you a free sweep. The sweep's worth $2,000. It'll more than cover, obviously way more than cover your expenses of airfare, hotel, food, and even the registration fee. All right, so that is what I wanted to cover today. The key is, let us know. Email me and let me know if you would like to attend. And by emailing me, that doesn't mean that you're committed and you're going to somehow get in trouble if you don't attend, but we need that feedback from you all. Would you like to attend? And then once we figure out exactly what the registration fee will be, we'll let you know that. You can formalize your registration. We'll monitor the attendance and then determine, will we have it here in our training center or will we go to the country club? I'm kind of hoping for the country club, but either is fine with me. All right, thanks everyone. So please email, let us know. If you don't want to attend, or if you say this sounds worthless, this would be the worst thing I could do on a Friday in my life, feel free to email that too. I mean, we're just looking for feedback if this is helpful and of interest to you. All right, thanks everyone. Have a great weekend. See you Monday.